Oh, yeah. The yes, yes, yo, you don't stop. Big John come rocking a short shot. Welcome back. It's the fastest freaking show in MLB absolutely anywhere. With your freaking boy, yo, Big Johnny Stud, coming to you worldwide. Brooklyn, New York, as always, we coming out the damn chair. As always, hope you had a wonderful weekend. I had some nice time with the fam. And a really long argument, discussion, back and forth with my employee of the month, fucking Claude bot. That's why I was a little bit behind schedule. We were getting close to the end of April, grading the model, but also production in the league, right? You want to be accurate, but if the league is changing, right, if runs are changing, you're not going to be consistent if you're not moving with the trends. Scoring is ticking up. We had to adjust accordingly. Feeling pretty good about the model. Second combine kind of felt flat, but like literally flat. Hopefully this next one will be the last one, but it's all about patience. Stay focused, Danielson. It's a marathon, not a sprint. All right, enough of that shit. Who am I? The girl named Sugar. Follow me up on Twitter at John Legeza Flow, sharpener the damn razor. Same handle over on Substack. And, press fucking like on YouTube because that stuff matters like way more than it should. We got 8 games today. Nice little light load. Everything PM. Nice little light load. I'm going to be obsessing over this week's MLB Survivor, down to 11 people with, I think it's 15K up top. I, of course, had the Mets. They sold my ass down the river yesterday. I needed one of the 2 in the doubleheader. Of course, they scored 1 total run, swept at home by the Rockets. Straight up pathetic. Mets are freaking gross right now. Underwater trades up in a bitch, yo. Thanks for popping in again. So your stuff over the weekend. Good morning, everyone. Mr. Jeff. What would the comment section be without you? You damn thief. Up nice and early. What's good? And Brian Elfring, all the usual suspects. All right, enough of that shit. It's the best part of waking up. Pitching sheets in the mug. Today is the last day of the 25-26 layover. Again, I was a little bit behind. I was up past my bedtime, arguing with the Claude bot. Woke up again extra early to pick up the conversation, but, got to get it right. Got to make sure all the formatting and stuff is. I should have started earlier yesterday. Anyway, I think everything is good. Everything seemed to check out. Nothing wild. And we're going to dive right on in. First up, Flat Fucking Fish of Florida plus 120 dogs on the road down in Cleetown, Forest City to face my boy, Parker Messick on the bump. Again, we got 25-26 up on the board. You also have 26 only that I just flipped to. I'll also leave up the 25 tab in case you want to do any of your own kind of calculations and stuff like that. With pitchers, once you hit that season, that's really, I think, where you want to be focusing. It's a different data set. Mechanical deliveries and arm angles and arsenals and velo. Always keeping an eye on the wider set, right? That's going to be a hint for macro regression trends. But we're at that point now where if you're like, oh, this guy is so good all the time, he's going to be great, but you're not paying attention on why things are going wrong this year, it could be a real fail point. And, that could be the end early. So Mats, I was never really buying it. Kind of an effective inning eater. This year hasn't been great, really blah. The ERA and whip are both too high for a guy that's just not going to get swing and miss. He doesn't get the call stuff over. He induces no chases, and he's up in the zone with pulled fly balls. This is only going to end a certain way with a 13.5 barrel rate. Cleveland should do work against him when we refer to offense. Lefties, I'm going to cite year-to-date. I'm flipping over to that now, right? The simple scroll over to the left-handed stuff. I think for righties, we could stay with the 2 weeks. And then L7 really just more of a, I don't know, a non-reactive data point. Some people really want, there was a point where I wouldn't even put it up because I didn't want people to overreact to it. And, listen, man, if you open a restaurant, just because you don't eat chicken nuggets don't mean they don't fucking sell, right? So you put chicken tenders on the fucking menu because they sell because people want them. You got to give the people what they want sometimes, But even if it
doesn't work for me, brother.
Even if it doesn't work for you, brother. L7, again, just a data point, more of me, a return to overall trajectories. So let's look. Rays v lefties. I actually forgot Messick is a lefty also. Rays have been absolutely terrible versus lefties this year. Just 5 home runs on the season. Too many ground balls. I mean, in bottom 5 across the board. Pull, hard hit, barrel. 2.3% barrel rate. 342 xCon. xWOBA is south of 300. That ain't going to do it. Guardians have been much better. And I think this is how you beat Mats also, right? With the line drives, not chasing out of the zone, right? So he's going to fill the zone. You just got to make contact. And I think if they do what the guards do, get on, should be enough to get it done. Guardians bullpen's also been pretty good last 2 weeks. Rays correcting from the full season. I always thought Baker was better than we saw. Maybe it was like some jitters and stuff getting started. So I guess I'm with the algo. Cleveland with the clean win. Both F5 full game. Model's really low on the totals. And you know what? This was another part of the conversation. Maybe I can make this a end of show thing or like a separate thing. I don't want to spin this into an entire episode. So I'm arguing with a machine about how I need to be more confident in myself, but not because I'm a great guy, but because the math was there. I was weighing my stuff too firmly to the books. Now, that will generally keep you from getting in a lot of trouble, right? Grounding yourself to the lines. But it lacks creativity and it's going to lack conviction. Okay, so I'm weighing a little bit more of my model away, not ignoring the book. Of course, we're using the book. But I give you an idea, just with this in general, you can see we're below 7. That doesn't happen that often. Tampa Bay right at 3 doesn't happen that often. That would probably more I would have stretch min formulas to kind of boost everything, right? To keep the top sides down and to boost from the bottom. But I want to stick with what we got. I want to see how this works. Again, everyone just needs to know. I got to be transparent. But we're below the 7.5. Right? Again, more of a 4-3, which is totally plausible. So I've got Cleveland and I've got the under. Cleveland is a touch expensive. I don't know if I want to go for the cover. At home, Cleveland's offense may be better than the Rays, but they're not good. The bullpen may be better than the Rays. I'm not sure they're great. And we get the 9th frame as a favorite. We might not get that at bat. So I'm going to just put Cleveland money line for right now. I generally don't go under 7.5, but it's not like that's a loser. I don't like to go under the F5 4s with guys that could go distance. So I'm going to put Cleveland to win right now at minus 145. And I'll kind of hash that stuff out. For anybody that might be new, welcome aboard. Bienvenidos. Again, everyday data, projection, stats, ranks, implied totals, all the shit that you see here up on the board is up before 8:30 every single day. It's usually much earlier than that. Today, that's why I put 8:30, so no one is like, oh, what's going on? I'd rather, under-promise, over-deliver. This stuff, again, goes up 7 days a week, show 6 days a week. And then fantasy stuff on the weekends. I got to try and do a better job of promoting all the stuff. Someone asked me if where'd the fantasy stuff go? I'm like, I'm sending out emails and I have a tab, so I'm doing the best I can. If you have any troubles, just reach out to me before you're going to unsubscribe. All right, next up. Took a little bit of time on that one, but again, it's a little bit of a short slate. Dustin May on the bump for the Cardinals, plus 109 dog. And in Pittsburgh, it looks like Wilbur Dotel is going to open. I saw it could be Mason Montgomery. He's fucking awesome. So I want to see this before I act. But also back to the board, all the logos and stuff that you see. You may not see it. I'm just zoomed in so you could read it on the screen. We have 2 hit-run ribbies that I've been loving. That's the blast. I have singles plays. I haven't gotten home runs yet. I like to be a little bit more confident in the hot weather. But also when you see emojis, wind blowing in right on this one, Also with the frying pan, that's your cooked emoji, cooked bullpen emoji. Go over to that tab. St. Louis, Jojo Romero back-to-back, Static back-to-back, Soriano 2 of 3, Graceffa 2 of 3, Brule 2 of 3, and Swanson back-to-back. Cardinal bullpen wasn't great in the first place. They're probably hanging by a thread in this one. So May has struggled, and again, don't tell you're going to get an open. I was way over initially, to be honest. The wind kind of pushed it down. So I'd call this one priced pretty fairly. I'm not making any moves until I get some certainty. Maybe, if anything, we might want to fade May. Again, you can't look at the Dotel stuff. I know we see that blue, we want to attack, but it's only a couple innings. May, I don't think, is any good. And if I'm not mistaken, is he coming off a start where he shoved? I mean, honestly, like, that's when I want to jump on this guy because I'm just not buying it. Let me just confirm that really quick. I got the game log going. Again, I'm going to try and streamline a little bit more when there are full of slates, but wow, May, you know what? You got to take them when they're deserved. Hell on the big fat head. May's been good for a few starts in a row. Home versus Boston, when 6, gave up 1, walked none, struck out 4. Cleveland, when 6, gave up 1, walked 1, struck out 4. At Miami, 5 1/3, gave up 1. That was after giving up 13 runs through 2 starts. That was the idea that I had in my head with the gas can. Now, man, I still feel like maybe he regresses back to the pitcher that we thought he was. Pittsburgh v. righties last 2 weeks, been pretty weak, though a couple of things that we like, right? They're getting on base, taking walks, while being aggressive. Ex-Woba and ex-Con are both kind of flashing. 346, 396 respectively. That's a lot of strength that we like. That's when you look at the L7 to see, and it's trash. Right now, they're completely bottoming out. I couldn't find my missile sound. Pittsburgh, maybe the worst offense in the league. Last 7 days, 225 plate appearances. Batting average below the Mendoza line, 520 OPS, 31K to just 6 walk. Maybe I want to pump the brakes on my hate for May and disagreeing with the model here. Again, you got to remember, bullpens and openers, very tough to rack if they confirm and I'm around. I will kind of rerun this. I think you want to fade it. The play would have been Pittsburgh to score. But if you see up on the board, that orange border means that team total is 3.5. You can see it at the top of the column. If I could get Pitt 3.5, I think they get to 4. I don't want to push them to 5. So all that to say, I don't think I'd waste my time. Next up, Power Ranger Suarez on the bump for the Red Laundry. He's a plus 120 dog up in Toronto, north of the border, to face Dylan, stop, cease, and desist, plus the Bluebirds. They have the bullpen emoji as well. Again, I've had people say this alone is worth the price of admission. I have to do this by hand. I couldn't really formulate it because it's subjective. Generally, it's 2 or 3 of the top 3 guys have this thing. If there's a lot of work at the bottom and the best 3 guys have rested 2 days, I'm not going to move the model. So again, it is subjective. But this stuff matters. Toronto, Louis Varland, back-to-back 50 pitches. I don't think he's going to pitch. He's their best arm. Tyler Rogers, back-to-back 25. Maybe you'll see him if they need him. Fisher, 2 of 3, and Flaherty, 2 of 3. Again, the Toronto bullpen that I don't necessarily love, maybe hanging by a thread in this one. Suarez is fantastic on a per inning basis. I'd say the scene for Cease, it has to do more with the command and the control. So Cease is a perfect example of a pitcher that you want the smaller sample. We want to see how the ball rate and the walk rate is right now. It's not any good. One of Cease's worst seasons to date. Again, kind of reverting back to that 39 ball equaling the 12.5 walk. That's not going to do it. Right now, you got to give Suarez the edge. Right now, I know the 26 stuff has not been pretty. That said, it's not gross. I'm not even really sure where it's so bad. He's got a 115 whip. I mean, he's not striking guys out, but command and control. I mean, we need to see him get the off-speed stuff over, but he's keeping it down, suppressing hard contact. The home runs are in check. I tend to think that Suarez is going to correct course. Now, Toronto v. lefties has been a really weak split for them. Yeah, they're getting on base, and you could make the case that they have a strong approach, something that Toronto is usually good with. Jason, good morning. Caleb, good morning. You damn thief, my guy. We often talk about, as much as I love approach, you got to pump the brakes. If you don't swing at anything, do you have a great approach? I guess I put the cart before the horse, and looking at this, I assume the swing rate would be lower. So I have to take a little L. But still, this is more for the Twins. That was what I saw in the corner of my eye, the low swing rate, but the great walk rate and great swing and strike rate. So maybe it doesn't apply as strongly to Toronto. But maybe they still need to be a little more aggressive because they're just not doing anything with it. Maybe they need to attack first pitch. They don't chase, but the ball's in the ground too much. Sub-6 barrels versus lefties, you would think this team that we thought would be good, mostly predicated on lefties. The Blue Jays were missing left-handed bats. They had the right-handed bats. I thought that they would kill lefties this year. Maybe that corrects. But it just doesn't look as strong as maybe I thought. Boston offense has really been in the tank all year. One of the worst offenses in the league. Last 340 PEs versus righties. Batting 224, 311 slug, 50 ground ball, and a 303 X-ball. But that is shite. Another place you want to look for the L7 just to see if we start to see rumbling, because I generally think of them as a talented team. All they've done is walk and steal. Now, those are okay, but you got to do something before we really start baking in a hard floor. Because, again, Cease does have all the strikeout stuff. They have chased a little bit, being a little bit too passive, falling behind. I'm not ready to buy the Red Sox at all. Bullpen's been a bit of a saving grace for them. I'll go pretty much split. I've got it tied through 5. So I probably like Toronto at the cost. That total at 3.5 is just so low. I don't like to challenge that. Full game total at 7. I don't like to challenge that. Unless I'm going over, of course. Because this feels like we're going to dogfight it out. 2-1, 2-2, 3-3. Before you know what 3-3 is a 7. And at the very least, you're busted. And then, again, there's a reason I hate to go under full games. You open yourself up to catching the, F and the A with the ghost runner. That's like the stone cold worst outcome in all of baseball. To be under a total, it's 1-1 through 9, and you drop your fucking 09. My gosh, oh God, find me a high roof and a fast-moving train underneath it. I think Boston pulls this one out as an underdog, even if it means I'm kind of outlasting Toronto. I think our guy, Frank Amarante, if you're not following my guy, you should. I think he was making the same kind of call. And if I'm not mistaken, it may have even been a bullpen thing. So give me Boston at the price. Anytime you can get Ranger, and I'm holding my nose with this one because it's going to be tough. But if we're leaning into the vulnerability of Cease poor control and then maybe giving up a fucking ding-dong, to me, next up, Luis Castillo. He's on the bump for the Mariners on the road against Connor Prelip and the Twins. This game had me scratching. Again, I mentioned kind of checking the model, making sure it passed the, the shock or sniff test before you go in for the real thing, right? Can't go eat at the taco stand if the beef smells rotten, obviously. I've got Minnesota with the flat-out win as a 113 dog at home. Lots of emojis again. Wind blowing out in Minnesota. Seattle has the bullpen emoji. Munoz 2 of 3, Brash 2 of 3, Ferrer back-to-back, Bizarro 2 of 3, Spire 2 of 3. Not disastrous because the pitch counts are low. I think they may be available. However, I still look for degradation with that 3rd of 4. Right? These are things that have tested out in the past. Even if it's not necessarily like, he's tired, the more you spin the wheel, the more of a chance you're going to get of spinning up a lemon. And for relievers, the margin of error is so slight, right? One walk and a dong. Oh, he's trash. No, you just you play, you gamble, you lose. Right. So I like the Twins for an outright win. Let's go for a little bit of a dive on Prelip, though. As as much as I'd like to even cite Savant, where I generally go for the more granular stuff, Arsenal, you know what? That just gave me a good idea. I could probably put together a really good tutorial vid on how to use StatCast as fast as I use it to kind of as a complement to our work. But again, 4 innings, you're not going to, I wouldn't go crazy about the results. I think we could probably glean something from Arsenal. This is interesting. So this is kind of Prelip. Slider first, 51% of the time. He got good whiffs on it. Again, it's only a couple innings. Then it's four-seamer. He throws 96. Really good movement profile. So that's something that we definitely like. This Arsenal is starting to shape up nice. And then he's got a changeup that he gets lots of whiffs to that he throws to righties. Remember, he's a southpaw. So Prelip on the surface kind of checking out. 25 years old, former second-round pick, 48th overall. So a little bit of draft capital there. Really nice numbers in the minors. All the stuff that we look for. Lots of strikeouts. Walks kind of erratic. That's going to be the bugaboo. With lots of ground balls and no home runs. For me, for my money at least, it's wheels up on a box score analysis for Prelip. I think I don't know if we're necessarily going to get what we saw in 4 innings, but I would be expecting really good run out. While we're on the train of thought, Seattle versus lefties on the season. Again, remember, these fucking tools are built for speed. Support good people doing good work. Help me keep the lights on. If this doesn't save you $2 worth of time a week, you're either fucking Flash Gordon or you're wrong. Bottom line. Mariners v. lefties, taking a lot of pitches, not really helping them because they're not hitting for average. They've gotten some home runs, trying to elevate pulled balls, but there's not enough contact or enough consistent lift. See the line drive rate below 20, that's not going to do it. So the X-Con is high because of the pull. It is a good sign because the hitters are there. That said, the approach is not great, and they're not doing much. This is not a great spot for Seattle. Flip side, Castillo has been terrible this year. I'm only going to do this because the slate is a little short. Again, this is part of that. We're moving from 25, 26 into 26. Castillo is the perfect example of what I was speaking about. If we're looking at the larger sample, let's bring it up really quick. Castillo pretty good. 3.71 ERA, 125 whip, not great. But even the command and the control has been fantastic. Getting ahead, inducing chases, winning in zone, keeping it down. This is somebody that we'd want to support. However, what's going on this year? 5 ERA and a 1.7 whip. 24 CSW. That dog don't hunt, Chief. Fill in the zone, but he's getting crushed. Now, the luck stats have been rough. 63 left on base, 392 BABIP. That's pretty brutal. Homer fly ball is in the single digits, though. Double-digit barrel. This isn't looking great for Castillo. This is when you kind of have to take a deeper look, or you're never going to understand. Then you're just guessing. The velo is good. He dialed down the usage to throw more sliders. This is something I would generally like. Throttling the sinker use, also something I would generally like. He's never had good extension. He's never had good spin. He is getting whiffs in the four-seamers. We like that. But the location's just been really bad. Relatively, right? He's survived on good command and control as of late. And I could just see from the heat maps, missing with the four-seamer down, trying to go up at the chin and the letters instead of the brim. And the sinker is up too high. He's missing middle. Until Castillo reins in the command and control again, I think he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but I think I like the Twins as a dog here again. Twins v. righties, last 2 weeks, it's a bit of a mixed bag. It actually looks a little bit like the Mariners from the other page versus lefties. Really patient, getting home runs. The elevation bin is better. A little more consistent, but not as strong overall. So again, really a mixed bag. Minnesota L7 has been kind of shitty. The power has completely disappeared. They are stealing bases, hitting some doubles, and that will be a floor. I wish it was a little bit stronger to go after Castillo. I don't know if I'm ready to pull the trigger here. The bullpen, we would want the bullpen. As much as the Minnesota bullpen has not really been great, they've been better than average. And we'd be looking to attack the Seattle frying pan, right? So I want something Minnesota. I'm just not 100% sure. Wind is blowing out. Maybe my play is just to try and jump on him early. We don't want to get into the fight late, where it's probably a more talented pen. Castillo's probably more talented than Prelup. How much distance are we going to get for Prelup? As I think about that, I think that's what I'd want to do. Take the plus money, plus 105, shorten it to F5, maybe kill a few of the variables, a little bit of the uncertainty, and you get your money back on the push for what it's worth. Now that I mentioned that run line is going off at minus 135. I'd rather not pay 40 cents for that run. Next up, Jack Kahanowitz on the bump for the Angels. I got 2 wind emojis, which means the winds had to be over 20 miles an hour, right? I'm even trying to account for that. Usually 10 is where there's a reaction. 10 to 13 are like the higher range of winds. And sometimes you get 20s and shit like that. So when that also aligns with the book, I goose, So don't overdo that. These are the results. So I'm under the 9.5. I mean, to me, that total felt really high with this wind. It's actually dropped to 9, you mother effing scoundrels. I mean, it's a testament to our work that we're always in front of this stuff. It's just frustrating for me. If I ever fall behind at all and miss these things, you piranhas jump on the shit. I know there's people from Pinnacle that pay for this stuff because I don't charge enough and use it to smooth their lines. Why wouldn't you? We're fully independent. We're fully originating our own work. We've been doing it for years with a track record of success. Grading long-term CLV in really tough public markets. So whatever. Go me. Womp, womp, womp. Okay, so Kahanowitz on the bump for the Angels. They're minus 120 favorite against Anthony. Every kiss begins with K. And the White Sox. Man, you're begging to go over because these guys are fucking trash. But the wind is killing me. The offenses aren't good. Kahanowitz put out some surface stats we like, but the underpinning stuff is trash. K has just been terrible. I mean, I don't know what direction to go in. Angels, the reason I know this is because I was arguing with Claude about it when we were going back and forth over whether teams should have a separate split model for lefties and righties. And I know there are absolutely people out there going, of course, you totally overweigh lefties and righties. It's not really the case. And I'll tell you what, guys like Derek Carty, who are super duper sharp, obviously, right? Uber quant, will tell you that those splits are overweighted. I haven't talked to them in a while. Shame on me for not getting them on. I believe I should get him on, man. I think he'd tell you it's probably the most overweighted after BVP, which he would tell you is completely useless. I don't think he would tell you that split data is useless. He would tell you the samples are too small for the effect that we're trying to put upon them. So again, nuance and context pouring at your fucking nose when you roll with us. Easily the most high IQ game-by-game breakdown every single day, anywhere on the web. Please like and support this shit, will ya? Have mercy. Oh, I need to have mercy Uncle Jesse button. Oh my goodness, that's what I absolutely need. So I was arguing with the Claude bot about the Angels. It didn't love them as much as I did. So I was ready to go crazy. Okay, I don't want to frame this because I don't want people being like, oh my God, what the hell is going on behind the scenes here? I had the Angels pegged, right, kind of anecdotally, as a team that would get a big boost for lefties. Now, that's not really bearing out on the spreadsheets outside of the home runs and the barrels, right? So I saw walks, barrels, homers. I'm thinking this is really strong. As good as those things are, the other stuff is just not necessarily testing out. So the Angels are more just average against lefties. And now I think when you look at it on the whole, that is more what it is. Because they're flawed, they swing and miss, they lose in zone. Now, K is probably going to fill the zone and probably going to get yoked, but more because he sucks than they're good. White Sox offense last 2 weeks is starting to click up versus righties. You want to be worried about Kahanowitz and those underpinning stats that I mentioned. I just couldn't get the total over with the win. Now, if you want to LOL me and say that's, silly or stupid, go ahead. Now, the grace that I will give you with the over, remember, if you're going over, you should be full games to get exposed to the ghost runners, unless there are outlier bullpen stats. That said, this is an outlier in the other direction, and like the absolute case to go full game. Two of the worst bullpens over the last 2 weeks. Angels can't get anybody out. These two teams have combined for 9 losses in the last 2 weeks in the bullpen, 7 ERA from the Angels. Both have a 1.64 whip or worse. K rate below 20, walk rate over 12, 15 home runs combined. Just, again, you want to be going over, but when I started hitting the suppression thing, I ended up below the 9.5. The 10 is really high. So somebody asked me this question the other day and unsubscribed because of it. He said it was the Connolly early game against Baltimore. That after I did the show, so I had to be Saturday because I didn't do the show Sunday. After I talked through it, I liked Boston at the price. It was plus money, even though the model was the other way. And I explained to him that we don't always agree. I build it, but I don't force it. And I'm not going to change it because I disagree with it. I'm a person with opinions. And I like the price. And, he unsubscribed. But I just want people to know just that. I build it. I explain it. But like everything else in life, I don't just blindly follow it. It can sometimes, worry me. Mark is up in the game. Morning team, back now. Draft weekend's over. Everyone's been great. Thank you so much. And new face. This says, Jess, 1K. What's going on? Got some dog emojis going on. Yeah, the dogs is definitely barking today, brother. Appreciate everybody participating. You have no idea. The comments and likes and shit is all that matters. And I don't know if people are falling asleep if I'm putting you to bed, but our average watch time is legit through the roof, on par with some of the biggest channels on this fucking hellscape. I swear to you, right? I'm a nobody. Nobody likes me. I'm not popular. I'm wildly unpopular. I've been blackballed from more than my share of fucking sites and stuff. Whatever. The people that like it love this sort of shit. So let's just keep hacking away at the tree, which is just being honest. Deep tree, fall hard. Which is just being honest. I want to be over, but the 9.5 is too fucking high for me. But I'm just waiting for this one to just go bananas. Next up, Max Fried Eggs and the New York Yankees. They're minus 185 favorites on the road in the Lone Star State against my boy Jack Torch Leiter and the Rangers. He had like a lower body thing. Leiter was labeled day-to-day. I guess he's okay. Now, I have to check one thing really quick just to be consistent with my own work always, which is starting pitchers equal creature of habit equals crybaby, sand in vagina equals any, dispersion from that regular routine. I kind of avoid or worry. No, he's pretty much on schedule. He threw on the 22nd, and today's the 27th. Okay. When we get to that like 8th or 9th day, right, guys can get pushed back a day for the rain, and I don't bang him out for that. So I guess Leiter is on track. I liked him for this big breakout this year. I've got the 26 stuff up on the screen. It hasn't really panned out. You can see next to Fried, especially Fried's been goated. Let's look at Leiter a little bit more underneath. 4.97 ERA and a 1.46 whip is going to get you in trouble. Expected ERA and the Claude Bot indicator above 5. I'm below 4.5. Sierra is below 4, right? So always, that's why we like the different opinions to give us an idea of our own conviction. If you wanted to oversimplify, you could just hit the fucking average button. So Leiter is not gotten ahead, and that's been terrible for him. We do not want him forcing in zone because the Ks are there and the swings and misses are there, right? So is the CSW. When the breaking stuff is working on his first pitch, those are the lighter outings that are phenomenal. And the ones that aren't, when he starts to nibble and start to get cute, the four-seamer, though 97, is up in the zone. And if he's missing at all, he's getting killed. Now, the left on base and the BABIP are really high. Homer to fly ball in the double digits. Could be brighter days ahead. What's the problem? He's facing the Yankees, right? When you have a guy with a barrel problem because he has a, not even say a four-seam problem. He's just, we want guys that are aggressive and we want them to challenge. I don't want pussies out there. But this is not a great matchup because the Yankees are that offense to kind of summarily punish that style of pitcher. Yankees be righties last 2 weeks. The sample's a little bit smaller, but they're doing Yankee things. And this is when the Yankees are at their most dangerous. This is the most lethal iteration of the Yankees. I'd say right now they're probably the best right-hand hitting team in the bigs. What I mean is, it's the great discipline with the low swing rate and the non-existent chase rate. So if the Yankees are going to have the lowest swing rate with the best chase rate, taking walks and, top 3 barrel and top 3 hard hit and plus 400 ex-con, you should be preparing your coolie for at least one finger. That's the way this goes. This is not because I'm a Yankee homer. When they suck, I hate them. When there's no value, we bet against them. Right now, this Yankee team is starting to come into form. I would not be getting cute and challenging them. Texas bullpen has been good on the surface. I don't really trust the arm talent. They keep getting it done. Yankees bullpen's been the flip. Now I sound like a fucking homer. I think they're more representative of the full season than the last 2 weeks because they're rusted. Do with that what you must. I've got the Yankees for a cover. I think they get the lighter. I think it's a poor matchup. I think Fried is going to shove. He's back on that. Remember, he was the little girl with the curl, really good or really bad. Last year, first of all, 3 stats overall were fantastic. And that included a month so bad. People were calling for this guy's freaking head last year, and I couldn't believe it because he was so great out of the box, and then it just completely went in the damn toilet. I had to bring it up now to make sure I'm not delusional. So this is Max Fried last year. I'm almost certain of this. That he was just insane to start. He was just insane to start. He was through, so his first 11 starts, he had a 1.29 ERA. And then the rain started. And he went, God, so that had been another almost another full month where he stunk. He had a 5 ERA for more than a month. So we're getting that A1 ace guy back on the mound right now. And if you're watching him, when Fried is sharp and healthy, there's a very few people that are better. Then you look at the Texas versus lefties. It's one of the worst splits on the board. In fact, this came up because the Texas split versus lefties is so poor statistically for modeling. And I thank them for this, right? That we had to build in a harder mean regression. This is the equivalent of trying to model a pitcher for a 6.5 ERA. You can't do that. You're going to have teams that model 9 runs. There's no such thing, okay? There's no such thing. You've got to be backtesting. You've got to be fucking smart. So the Rangers are so poor. 266 plate appearances. Think about that if you multiplied it by 3. You have a tremendous season, right? Over 750 PAs. Just the healthiest Mark Semien season ever. You'd have 12 home runs with a 203 batting average, a 552 OPS, striking out 30% of the time, 5% barrel, 251 xWOBA. Absolute instantaneous demotion. And you actively hurt your team because you're out there 750 PAs worth of work. I just think the Rangers get absolutely shoved again tonight. I hate backing the Yankees to this extent, but and this actually made me a little more comfortable If you've been looking at the edge calculations that I've had to go out of my way and explain why they can be so disparate when it comes to heavy favorites at home. And it's because the public gooses the fuck out of public favorites at home. If the book didn't goose the shit out of it, you'd be getting no vig lines, right? You'd be getting plus 153, minus 153. What do you notice? Our fair line value, and this is what really gave me a lot of confidence. Our fair line value is minus 150, plus 150, no vig. Texas is plus 153. The gas, the juice, the tax is on the favorite. You never, I don't want to say never, it happens sometimes. But when we actually get a fair value signal on a home favorite, that's a fucking smash play because you're now like superseding that fucking tax. So again, we're just going nuts. Baseball betting high IQ again, right? Isn't this shit more fun when you understand it, when you know not like what you're doing and why? So let's check the price on the Yankee cover. I see a minus 105. I really like to get even money on my covers. It's just a stubbornness thing, but I understand because the Yankees are on the road and you're going to get that ninth frame. If they get ahead of lighter and we get teams that kind of bail or whatever, that's when you see the underbelly. I call the ugly underbelly of the fucking bullpen where the Yankees could feast. So give me Yankees on the cover. I'm going to put minus 105, but please try and get at least even money. All right, we got 2 games left. Hope everyone is enjoying the show. A little bit longer than I hoped for the short set, but I'm just generally shooting for under an hour. If you find that the show does run long, check out the podcast because it's significantly shorter. I'll have a program that eliminates all the fucking all the stupidity, and it really it's much smoother and it'll be a lot shorter. Matthew Boyd and the Baby Bears, they're minus 112 on the road against Randy Macho Man, Savage, Mr. Vasquez, and the Friar Tucks, minus 108 at the crib. Model likes the Cubbies for a clean win. Boyd's been really good. So has Vasquez. Let's see if we're buying this year's stuff. So Boyd, again, 5.79 ERA. I'm saying he's been really good, but I don't look at that stuff. 202 Sierra, my indicator has him at 3. 39K to 5 walk. 18 swinging strike, 32 CSW, 33 ball. This is like Cy Young ridiculousness from Boyd. He's been fantastic. He has a 41 left on base, a 400 BABIP. He'll be fine. Padres v. lefties, another weak split. They have yet to hit a home run so far this year. OBP hovering around 290, 588 OPS. Not taking walks, swing and miss, plus chase. Yikes, too many ground balls. I actually thought this team might hit lefties. Well, Laureano, Tatis, Machado, even Bogarts and Andahar, and they're going to roll out Castellanos and stuff. And it's been really, really bad. So I like Boyd in the bounce back spot with the gross ERA that maybe some idiot is chasing. Who knows? Then you get Vasquez, who I've perpetually faded. But man, he's been damn good. My guy's actually deserving a quick hood pop. I don't want to be stubborn because the underpinning stuff is starting to look good. He's not a 188 ERA guy. The 108 whip is really strong. Command, control, inducing chases, keeping it down, doing all the things that we like. Now, granted, there's been some barrels. Vasquez has been known to miss bad to lefties. That used to be what we joked about when I would cover him with the Source Network. How many lefties are we facing? You're going to get Bush. You're going to get Happ. You're going to get Ballesteros, who's like a freaking monster, plus PCA, who's struggling, but I think he'll come around. Today, I don't know. So let's see what the Macho Man's got if we're buying what we see under the hood. He's throwing more four-seamers for fewer sinkers. I hate the sinker. More changeups, more sliders. So from a macro arsenal standpoint, we like it. While the four-seamer, it looks like they made some adjustments here because the four-seamer is up 1.5 miles, saved more than an inch of vertical, added more than an inch of horizontal run to get you to 10, which is where the whiffs come. So again, just from I know this is somewhat granular, but this is not a deep dive like I would normally do. I like to check sequencing and splits and stuff as well. I think we have to look at Vasquez as like a real pitcher. Mark says you get 100 double result on the Yanks. I know you love to win the 2 bets. Yeah. Do we believe in Jack Leiter? I don't think so. And then Leiter gets hit and Fried shoves. Yeah. That would be funny if the Yankees cough it up. You better get a great price on that. I'm not 100% sure on a price, those. Just make sure you're really getting paid because you're an underdog win. So, yeah, Vasquez, I think I like Randy Vasquez. You know, it's underpinning, it's arsenal improvements with diagnostics. Will be a good test today. Cubs have been very good. Last 2 weeks, really strong V righties. And if I'm not mistaken, the last 7, they've kind of raked 154 WRC plus as a squad. Lots of lift, tons of bombs. Seiya Suzuki is on a tear right now. Right when you start adding back premium pieces into the fold, a lot of times that's, you know, exactly what's going to happen. Padres bullpen, a little bit of a disappointment the last couple of weeks. But again, the underpinning stuff is still strong. The macro stuff is still strong. I think the arm talent is still strong. It's really the Cubs that have been the big surprise because I keep getting injured now. Thielbar is down. I'm not even sure. It just hasn't mattered for the Cubs. It like legit hasn't mattered. One guy goes down, next man up, and they are doing work. They lost Palencia. They lost Hunter Harvey. They lost Porter Hodge. Now Thielbar, and it's going to be up to Ben Brown, who can be filthy. I added him in a fantasy league yesterday. I'm desperate. I had Raisel Iglesias and Jordan Romano as my closers. Yeah, no shit, that's wrong. Iglesias hurt. Romano just got DFA'd. I don't know. He got blown up in a non-safe spot. I don't know what happened. I think something happened off the field, and oftentimes I think it might be a precursor to a suspension. Just saying that happens sometimes. What? Why would you do that? And then a week later, you're like, Profar got fucking gigged for, you know, steroids. So back to the matter at hand. I've got Chicago for the win. Maybe I don't want to tempt fate with the pen if Vasquez is sick. But I'll tell you what, if we're really believing in both, then maybe the answer is actually the 4.5. I'm surprised that's where it is, if that's where it is. That one dropped to 4. I should have known, you fuckers. Got me again. All right, made that change in real time. A little less. Oh, shit. Swap the total. Now it's not really a play. Not that you're going to go over, but darn. That would have been my play. Now it's a Cubs F5 money line that I don't really love. I think that's the play I'm going to put down because of the price and the model. But honestly, the stuff that we saw from Vasquez, not really putting much confidence in me to fade him. Oh, here we go. Good question. Jess asks, double results are F5 and full game? Jess, first of all, thank you for participating. I really do appreciate the support. Love seeing new faces. Hopefully we're helping you enjoy this thing of ours. Yes, a double result is first 5 in full game. However, and this is what's really important and where I fuck up sometimes, I'm moving so fast, right? Italian, Tasmanian devil, blah, blah, blah. I need to be in check, and that's why I love the questions, right? It's a run line play. So make sure if you're calculating those plays in a, you know, parlay calculator, odds calculator, make sure, one, that the two of them add up properly, right? And that it's using a run line, not a money line. Because if it's tied, you lose. You have to be ahead. It's a almost like a money line in the true sense, right? So it's an actual run line. But then also, you should get extra on the addition because of the non-correlative properties. If the two things add up and that's the price you get, it's not right. Especially in the case of the Texas game, I think you should be getting extra. Not that there are friends who are necessarily going to do that, but make sure that the price is right. I think that always matters. So appreciate you, Jess. Let's wrap this bitch up strong as always. It's the Sheriff, Chris Paddock, on the bump for the mighty Marlins. He's on the road in Hollywood, always up to no good against Yoshinobu Yamamoto and the Dodgers. This one's plus 248 for the Marlins. I couldn't get it there. And I'm no fan of Paddock. You could see up on the board this season, 6.38 ERA and a 154 whip. I'd argue the underpinning stuff is not nearly that bad as expected. ERA is below 4, Sierra at 3.6. Again, the luck stool is wobbly as shit. I mean, I'm not a big Paddock guy, but we just got to be honest right in our assessment. When we talk about the 3 legs on the luck stool, left on base, BABIP, homer, fly ball. Really gives you an idea. Was this player really lucky? It makes me nauseous when I hear BABIP. That's not enough. This is outrageous. You make an argument. Statistically, Paddock's been one of the most unlucky pitchers. 65 left on base, 351 BABIP, 17 homer fly ball. My God, so bad. So bad. Like every barrel is going out. And that's just not going to be the case. The Dodgers are the wrong team to kind of find out about. Right? The real like FAFO here. Dodgers, one of the best offenses in the league, just killing righties. You'd like to see him pull it a little bit more, maybe show a bit more aggression, but they're similar to the Yanks. You know, they're passive but not chasing. They don't take as many walks, so the OBP is not as encouraging, right? Because that's the real floor, is the men on base, the finger further into the coolie, pitcher feeling the pressure, forcing in zone, and then so I think Paddock is most definitely in trouble. Yamamoto, one of the best pitchers on a per inning basis. I don't know. Is there any kind of weakness here that we like the Marlins versus righties last 2 weeks? 380 PAs. It's been probably better than people expect. The Marlins are a 1980s throwback. Tons of contact, no Ks, on base, lack of power, pulled line drives, right? So it's not just like, oh, slappy. I hate when people do that. Opposite field singles. These are pulled line drives. Those are good batted ball events. However, right, you know, the home runs are missing. The barrels are missing. But they pull shit, and they're on. And if I'm not mistaken, you know, the Marlins are running. Yeah, the Marlins are always running, and that's the formula, right? It's a very particular formula. Any one of those things missing, and the whole fucking house of cards comes crashing down. But discipline, on base, forcing pitch counts. Remember, line drives, pulled line drives with good discipline usually is a very strong indicator of a level swing plane. Right. Again, another good leading indicator for batted ball quality. Holy shit. What the fuck, yo? Man, I woke up super smart today. That's why I saw the fam. My son had his first communion. We were fully recharged. I'm just like feeling great. I was surrounded by friends and family. Had some fucking booze, munching on the fucking edibles. Just loving life right now. So maybe the Marlins get the Yamamoto. I mean, shit. I gotta get that one too. Shit. Shit. What does the Marlins run line look like? The Marlins run line, I mean, this is patently insane. And they're tempting the shit out of us. The Marlins are plus 150 to get the run, right? To get the half run through 5. To me, that's the sharp play, and I don't want to do it. It's sharp. It's my sharp play, and I don't care. And I'll fade if I want to. Yeah, because we've got, you know, the Dodgers up near 3 runs through 5. And, you know, over a run and a quarter, difference through 5. And that's why you're getting the price that you can, that it's there. I've got 176s flipped on the Fairline value. So to me, the value is on the Marlins, but you're taking your ass in your hands. And if you believe in the offense, maybe you should just play for the 4 runs. You get the 9 frames. Dodgers bullpen is good, but not great. They seem to do a very good job mixing and match and driving fantasy heads nuts. But to me, that the sharp money is on something Marlins. And this is not one of the cases where you want to pay for the Dodgers. Yes, I'm the idiot that takes Dodger run line. Sometimes it feels stupid. It's minus 140. The money line is minus 300. So there is some temptation there to get a $160 for that run. But minus 140 for the cover at home with the 9th frame is just not implied. You can't imply a ninth frame for the home team as a 300 favorite. You're only getting up 8 times. And if I'm not mistaken, the Marlins bullpen has handled business also, right? They've been pretty good. So yeah, it's like hold your nose, Marlins, or just leave this shit alone. I'm gonna put that funky monkey run line down just because the price is just so ridiculous. I mean, you almost want to say nobody should be getting that, but here we are. So that'll do it. Thanks for picking up what I'm putting down here at Corked Stats. Appreciate all the comments and stuff. Jeff and Mark and, Jess and Caleb, the Thief, all my Bryans, Jason, Underwater Trades. I really do appreciate people that, I don't know, and now I feel like we're building like a relationship. If you catch the show after the fact, shorter version is on AudioPod. If you're into this thing of ours and some process, I would say go check the live comments. There's really good back and forth there with sharp people who play. I hate to be constantly jerking myself off. But the fact of the matter is, what type of player is watching this show every day? What type of person subscribes to my Substack? The answer to all of this are either triple-digit IQ people, professional bettors, or those who aspire to be one, either, or both. Bottom line. We reek of effort, right? We stink of effort. We don't throw the ball. We don't swing the bat. We do control our work ethic. We do control our process. We do control our emotional capital, right? If you notice, I'm a fucking nutcase. I'm a legit fringe fucking lunatic. And if you think I'm one of these sucker asses that I'm different outside, yeah, I'm different. I'm much worse. Yo, hand to fucking God. Catch me. Catch me at the county fairs. Catch me at the Jersey State fairs. Catch me out there, homie. Catch me. We're gonna bug the fuck out. I live in this life once. But right, work time is very serious. You have to learn how to fold in the fun. Right? That's why we tell anus jokes. You gotta have some fun when you're doing this shit, but you drive yourself crazy. Serious is good, obsessive is bad, right? All about sustainability. So hope you learned something. Love you as much. Manic Monday edition. That's a wrap, kid. So thanks for picking up what I'm putting down. Yo, support the shit, bro. Enjoy the games, enjoy the day. When we're done with the book, enjoy the pay. And remember, when you work this freaking hard, man, the winning, there's a lot less like luck, yo.